Welcome to the Oddity Shop, where the bizarre is always on sale.
Hey Oddballs, welcome back to the Oddity Shop. I'm Kara and this is Zach.
Hello.
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 That's what you usually say.
I am Zach.
I am Zach. Before I forget, the last time we recorded, we talked about the Kentucky meat shower, and I had a really missed opportunity. That the second we stopped recording, I was like, do you know?
Oh, are you waiting for me to sing it? No, because we were apparently singing the same thing in both of our heads.
It's raining meat. Hallelujah. Oh. And he's like, I was thinking that the entire time. I'm like, what?
It was honestly hard to pay attention to you.
Anyway, this is the Oddity Shop podcast where we
talk about the weird, creepy, paranormal, occult, demons. I try to change it up a little bit every time. Meat rains from around the world.
Wait, stars blubber.
Bird facts. I know when people are listening to this, we're way ahead in the future, but we've never talked about how was your UP trip?
It was good. Where did I all go? We went to Munising. We hit up a bunch of falls and hiked around. Then we hit up Copper Harbor. We did some. Hold
on real quick. By the way, for all you non-Michigan listeners out there, the UP is we call the second half of our state that everyone doesn't think belongs to us, but it's our upper peninsula.
Sorry. Thank you. Once Copper Harbor. I think I'm wearing a shirt that says Copper Harbor. Did some more hiking and falls and stuff. Then I went to Houghton, chilled there for a bit. Yeah.
Nice.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I have a lot of cute pictures.
Yeah, it looks like you guys had a good time.
I'm going to keep dropping them here and there on my Instagram. I totally meant to tell you that when you were gone doing all your adventure stuff, you have to take pictures because you have to start posting on your personal social media. And I forgot to tell you that. So now I have like a bank of all stuff that I can put on mine.
Oh, I'm so bad at posting. I think my last Instagram post was from Halloween at your house. Okay, so I know we're in the future, so I'm projecting right now, right? So when everyone's listening to this, it's the 14th of September. Right now it's the somewhere in August, whatever.
10th.
So me and Julia had some brunch on Sunday. We had a couple drinks and then we were going to go shopping. And I'm like, well, I've been talking about getting a new couch for forever. I'm going to stop in and look at one. I know I've already told you this, but I found the perfect couch and I've been keeping my eye out. The perfect couch at the perfect price. So when everyone else is listening to this, I will have gotten to test it out for a week because it's still like 3 weeks out from being delivered in real life. And I'm so excited. I don't have patience and I want it now.
Which is funny because yesterday when we were talking about this, you're like, yeah, I'm probably going to cancel it. I'm like, I might cancel it.
So that was Tuesday, 2 days ago when we were talking about it because
I guess that wasn't yesterday. Your anxiety.
As much as I like buying new things, I'm also very, very Polish and I hate spending money. I'm cheap. So like that was the day that I put all the money on my card and ooh, buddy. I'm just so ready for it though.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
What else is new?
My parents are coming to hang out this weekend. We're gonna go out to Saugatuck on Saturday.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever been. It's super cute. It's like a little crafty, pretty gay town. Right on the lake. Like it's just like
pretty gay.
Oh, it's super gay. But it's just like a cute little like shopping for the day, little tchotchke store kind of place. And then on Sunday, this is how I know I'm my mother's child, right? So I planned brunch and she said, hey, can you look and see if the Spirit Dreams is open, which is the like crystal and metaphysical store by us? I'm like, oh, absolutely. And it's right across the street from the place I picked for brunch. So we're going.
Oh, God, get me stuff. Okay, so this just made me think because you said gay that I have to tell my story. So there is a town in a street in the Upper Peninsula. It's called Gay. And so my husband was like, oh, we need to stop and you need to stand by the street sign that says gay and send it to Zach. I said, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I passed out because if I'm not driving, I'm like relaxed. I'm a passenger princess.
I was just going to say
that term, but I am.
You so are.
But you want to know what I did? And I'm telling you, it is the best thing I've ever done. And for anybody that's traveling, that's not driving, if you're doing a road trip, I highly recommend this. You know the neck pillows that you get like on the plane?
Yeah.
You bring that with you.
Well, duh.
It was no, but I've never heard of people doing that when they take road trips.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I've just never heard of that.
You've been sleeping on it?
I had that. Yeah, I haven't. Anyway, so I passed out for a little bit, right? So he like forgets. And I told Zach that I don't know what it was, but I shot up and I literally, as I woke up, we're passing the gay street sign. I'm like, how do you pass the sign? He goes, oh my God. And he had to like put it in reverse. Like, how did I wake up right at that exact moment?
So
I don't know, but I took a picture.
You did, and you sent it to me. And here's the thing I love is like, I very sparingly text your husband. Like, we'll have chat every once in a blue moon. You know, like we get along, but we're not best friends. Okay. So what happens every time you go on vacation is all of a sudden you both start texting me, and it's always like random pictures of what you're doing and this and that and like little updates throughout the whole trip. And it's every vacation.
But I don't know he's texting.
Oh, I know, because you guys like you do it almost at the same time or a little bit apart. And like I can tell by the way you're texting me that neither of you are talking to each other. And it's just like, I'm so glad
about texting you at least.
Every time you go on vacation, you think about me. Both of you. All right. Anyway,
so gay.
Now that I have my little ego boost, do you
have a question for me?
I do have a question for you. I want you to think.
Okay.
I want you to look into the future, and I want you to anticipate the question I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Okay. Can you think of what it is?
No.
Okay. Well, the question is, do you believe that people have the ability to look into the future,
see the future,
and gain guidance through physical items?
Are you saying that they touch an item and get like a premonition of the future?
Any sort of way.
Or
future through physical items.
Well, yes, but I guess I don't know what you mean by physical items unless I'm saying like you're touching them, you're seeing, like, is it like you're seeing an item that looks familiar and it triggers a futuristic thought?
I'm not giving you more.
Okay.
Yes or no?
So yeah.
Okay.
I mean, why would you even ask me that? You know, I would. Everybody by now always already knows I'm down for all.
You believe everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So like
except for.
Oh no, you can't leave an except for and leave us all on a cliffhanger. What do you not believe?
No, because we've got to. I don't want to piss people off. I was just like, except for God.
Fair. You know, everyone is entitled to their own beliefs. I won't say he doesn't exist. I will say it. I think it's very different than what. Anyways, yeah. Moving on. So I am super interested in like divination, future seeing. In the last year, and you know this, like I've started to learn a little bit more through like the runes or the pendulums or tarot cards, baby.
Oh, damn. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, we talking all about tarot this week.
Oh, interesting.
We're going to kind of go all over the place with this. We're going to talk about what it is. We're going to talk about some history. We're going to talk about a lot of shit. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So let's start with a definition. The definition of divination, according to the dictionary, is the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means.
I can never grasp what that means when people say it. I just can never. Like my brain goes blank.
It means
it sounds like math.
Seeking knowledge of the future.
I still ain't gonna remember it.
But no, usually what it is, it's just instead of describing it, right? Let's talk about different ways you can do it. One of them we've talked about a few times are the scrying mirrors, or people reading tea leaves, casting bones or runes, right? Or even like the pendant on a chain to ask questions. Yep. I almost feel like even in a way Ouija sort of falls into that a little bit, just with a little more, occult behind it.
I could see that. I could get down on that.
Obviously, though, we're going to dig into tarot cards, and you actually bought me my first tarot deck.
Yes. Why?
Because you are not supposed to buy yourself your own tarot deck.
So then you bought me mine.
I sure did. So you got me my first one. My mom bought me my second one. And then...
Oh, yeah, you did the...
I did break the rule. I broke the rule to get me my third one, but...
I'm sure you're going to tell us why.
I am. We're going to get into it because the third one has a very standard meaning for the reason why I bought it. But let's get into what tarot cards are. So in case anybody who's listening is not into anything we talk about and lives under a rock, tarot cards are basically a special set of playing cards, pretty closely related to like a regular 52 card deck, except tarot decks have 78 cards. You can stop by most crystal stores or like psychic mediums to have a reading done, where the reader will have you focus on a particular area of your life, a problem, challenge, or just a simple question. The cards will be shuffled. They'll create a spread, which is just the way you lay the cards out, that should give you insight into your particular situation. Okay. Obviously, I haven't said anything too like profound yet, right?
Okay.
What I really want to do with this episode, though, is get into the history of tarot and how we got from where it started to...
Oh, I'm sure it's so different.
Oh, it's crazy. But then to the modern tarot deck. Before, though, I get into that a little bit, I want to go over like the anatomy of a deck, because I've been super geeking on this lately. I've been trying to like learn how to read things a little bit better. Anyways, most modern day tarot decks are comprised of the same set of cards. There might be variation in art or names, but it's all pretty closely related. Like I said, there's 78 cards in the deck, which are split into the two parts. Do you know the two parts?
No. I've been waiting for you to do it all so then you can teach me. I've been trying to learn about chakras so that I can teach you that.
There we go. See, and we're like two separate sides of the coin there. We're both learning about the metaphysical. We just gonna keep teaching each other. She'll have an episode about it in the future, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But let's start. So 56 cards make up the minor arcana. You can think of this part of the deck as like really closely related to your standard playing card deck, except it has one extra face card in there, which is either the page or the court.
I did download an app that was supposed to kind of like help you, and it just...
Well, I'm gonna help you. You listen, you sit back.
I feel like I need to grab mine so I can look at them while you're talking to me.
So the minor arcana is made up of 4 suits, which is swords, wands, cups, and pentacles. Each suit has 14 cards, starting with an ace or number 1, numbered cards 2 through 10, and then the face cards. So there's a page, a knight, a king, and a queen. So these cards are the ones that are believed to help explain the trials and tribulations you experience on a daily basis. They relate to what's happening in like your life day to day and can give you guidance into your present situation.
So those are minor.
Yep, that's the minor arcana.
So are there major?
Well, the next part is the major arcana. So this is comprised of 22 cards, and these are like your like stereotypical tarot cards when you see, right? So they each have a particular name and tell a story, which can either be called the Fool's Journey or the Hero's Journey.
Okay. I do remember that.
Yep. The story of the Major Arcana is basically tells the story of the fool who sets out on a new adventure. And throughout his journey, he meets many mentors. And these are all represented in the cards, right? So some of those mentors are like the Hermit or the Empress. Then he overcomes challenges with the lessons he learned from the mentors, like the Hanged Man, the Tower, or the Wheel of Fortune, the Death card. And then the Major Arcana finally ends with the World, which is our fool has gone from being the fool to becoming the hero of the story. He's been through the conflict, the resolution, and now he has the world at his feet.
Okay, I was going to say, why are we calling him a fool if he's going through? I get it.
So that's why
then he's the hero.
Right. It ends with him eventually becoming the hero, even though there's no hero card, which is why it could be called either the Fool's Journey or the Hero's Journey, I guess, if you're looking backwards or looking forwards.
Okay. I got it now.
So where the meanings of the minor arcana card, like we said, deal with the day-to-day life, the major arcana are simple or symbols of your bigger life lessons, large themes, karmic influences, if you believe in all that.
I do.
And then together, the major and minor arcana are shuffled, and the person being read picks out their topic or question. The reader then either has them select the card or selects it for them, puts it down on the spread, and then the cards are interpreted. Following so far?
I think so. So minor are just like your basic daily, day-to-day stuff. Major are more life journey things.
Right. So in a reading, the major arcana will always have a heavier weight to them than the minor.
Okay.
All
right. I think I'm getting it.
So once it's all shuffled up, like we said, the cards are laid out in a spread. It could be as simple as just picking up one card and interpreting it against the question. Then you have the most common, which is a 3-card spread. A couple different methods of using a 3-card. One could be the past, present, or future. Otherwise, there's like the lead up, challenge, resolution, right? So 3 cards to help you get through your situation.
Okay. So if you're going to talk about this, just tell me to shut up. But like, so if you're going to get a reading,
yes.
It's either probably like, I want a reading of my past, present, future. I want a reading of my question that I have. Like, is it like you're kind of picking what reading you're getting, correct?
Right.
For those that don't know. Yeah.
So those are just the common spread, the 3-card spread, right? They can get as complicated as you want. I mean, there's one that's like Celtic Cross that's got like 8 cards. But the reader is supposed to pick the spread that fits most to your particular situation.
Okay.
Or what you're trying to gain insight on.
Okay.
Right. So now we're going to get into like a super, super simplified way of how to read the cards. Because I feel like a lot of people, it's a very popular trend, right? But like most people don't understand what the methodology is behind the cards. So
right.
The suit of swords, these have to deal with your thoughts or challenges.
I feel like I should be writing this all down.
Oh, I've got it all written down, and I've been learning, so I have cheat sheets. I'm going to share it all with you.
Okay.
Wands have to deal with your actions or your energy.
Go back. Swords were
thoughts and challenges.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Right, or maybe conflict is better. Thoughts and conflict. Yep.
Okay, I like that because you conflict. You have a sword. Okay.
It's all very visual, right? Like you can see that with a sword. And swords are supposed to be like a very fast moving suit. So if you get a sword, it's something that's supposed to happen quick. Wands are your actions or your energy. So like think of a magician, right?
Yep.
Your cups are your emotions or your intuition. So like I'm overflowing with emotions. Yep, exactly.
Cool.
And then pentacles are basically like always representing the deck as a coin, right? So those are your money or financials or earthly possessions.
Okay.
So the numbered cards move you through a journey. So as you start with the ace or the 1, that's the beginning of the journey. The 10 is the end, right? So, for example, aces can represent a fresh start. 3s represent growth. 5s usually are somewhere like in a conflict. 8 is mastery, and 10 is fulfillment.
Okay.
Then you think back to what that suit also represents, right? So like a 10 of cups could be emotional fulfillment in your situation.
Okay.
Now, the court cards in those 4 suits are a little more nuanced in their meaning, but the court or the page is usually like an upcoming invitation. Knights are usually announcements or revelations. Queens represent like a feminine energy of deep understanding.
Makes sense.
Kings are developed skills or leadership. So when you boil it all down, it actually like...
It is very visual. It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for dumbing it down.
Right? The part that I don't want to get into too much is the meaning of the major arcana, because each card represents big life lessons. So like there's 22 of them. If I wanted to explain them all to you, we'd be here for 5 or 6 hours.
Let's do it.
Right? If you're listening though and you want to learn more, where I learned a lot about the cards is Biddy, BIDDY, tarot.com. And we'll link that in the references down below.
Maybe when we eventually, because we need to go live, like on Instagram, you can do something like that where people can ask you to read what card is like out of those 22 and you can do it that way.
There we go.
Okay.
All right.
Thoughts?
I mean, we could do some readings. I'm really trying to learn. I'm getting a little bit better at the intuitive.
I just meant like, you could be like, hey, there's the 1 through 22 or whatever it is. Like,
ooh, like pick a number. Yeah.
Yeah, pick a number and I'll tell you what it means.
Right. And like the meanings that you put to them, I think is like one of the cool parts of the card, where like each has like a general agreed upon meaning, not meeting. Every website you look at or book or anything you read kind of guides you to one thing. And that's about like, once you have a basic understanding of the cards, it's using your intuition. So like the most skilled readers say that general knowledge of the cards are helpful. But modern tarot is less about reading the future like exactly, but it's using your own or the reader's own intuition to give yourself a jumping off point or a new perspective to look at the situation in your life, or focus on your issues in a way you may not have thought about it before.
Every time you say intuition, I start singing that damn Jewel song. And I think about that stupid intuition razor. Do you remember that? It was like in the night.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, it's killing me.
No.
Okay.
Or the Venus razor. I'm your Venus.
Your Venus.
Oh my God. Okay. How we got from tarot to razors real quick. So when we're not equating it to jewel or razors.
Okay, sorry, you're laughing. I'm just going to be honest. I interrupted our flow because I had to go pee. So we sound a little weird.
Pee break. Anyone else need to pause it right now? It's a good time to go because we're about to get into history. Are you ready for a history lesson?
I'm like nervous for some reason because I just feel like it's going to be so different than what.
It's a little surprising. So at this point, though, you're probably asking yourself, where did we get the modern tarot deck?
Where did we get the modern tarot deck?
Thank you. Well, let me tell you. We're going to go all the way back to the 13th through 15th century in Egypt, where we have the Mamluk
God,
people,
I love Egypt.
right? But this isn't like, this is, 1200s to the 1400s. So this isn't like super, super ancient Egypt.
I know, but it's still Egypt.
Anyway, so they created a 4-suit deck of hand-painted cards with beautiful designs that were used to play games. They were collector's items, or they were even used for gambling.
Oh.
So the 4 original suits...
Okay, so those had a real different meaning. Games, gambling, what was it? Games, gambling?
And being a collector's item.
Okay.
All right. This is really not only the history of tarot, but the history of playing cards in general. And we're going to get to where it's split off from each other.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Because if you think, like, a tarot deck is really similar to the standard deck of playing cards, just with some extra cards added.
Mm-hmm.
So the original decks consisted of 4 suits. They were coins, cups, swords, and polo sticks, which is not too far off from pentacles, swords, cups, and wands. Both sticks.
Oh, I was trying to think of what we were missing. I'm like, wait,
right.
Wands. Okay.
Now, these were a little bit less feminist in nature because each of the suits had the cards 1 through 10, but then the face cards were the king, the lieutenant, and the second lieutenant, and were all male dominated. Even from the original, like, playing cards, there was that, like, hierarchy and almost military vibe to it, right? Or like, leadership.
Yeah, authoritative.
Right. So, like I was just saying to you, though, you can see the similarity not only to tarot, but to the standard deck, which is, like, kind of insane that we get, the cards you play solitaire with from Egyptians from hundreds of years ago.
I'm so excited to just play cards now, like, because it's so weird. Like when you learn something about something and then after you look at it, you're just like, wow.
Right. Because, like, if you asked me, I would have been like, oh, they probably came from, like, Vegas.
I mean, it's not a bad guess.
All right, so 13th to the 15th century, right? We got the Mamluks. They're making their cards. Obviously, though, it gets into the trade. So some point in the 15th century, the cards make their way to Europe, gained tons of popularity in Italy, probably came in through a port there. And at this time, they started to add a couple extra cards to the deck called the Trump or the Triumph cards, which, like, if you think about, what is it, Euchre, our Midwest card game with the Trump cards.
I don't know how to play euchre.
I don't know either, actually.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I'm a terrible Midwesterner.
Deb's always like, we should play euchre. I'm like, no, I'll teach you. I'm like, no, I won't get it.
So the Italians, though, they come up with this game called Triumphi, which is Trump, or Triumph, right?
Trump?
Well, they had Trump cards. So the more wealthy Italians, they would commission artists to make them their own handmade decks with many different themes. And they would kind of use it as almost a storytelling game.
Okay.
So they would draw the cards, they would use the art, the name, and the meanings of the cards to create a poetic story about the person they were playing with.
Oh my God, can we do this?
Yes, because I listened to a podcast on this, and one of the girls...
This sounds so fun.
Well, they described it as being, like, similar to, like, a rap battle. Right? Which is like, you use the general theme of the card to come up with a story about the other person. And it was usually in a way to either, like, boost them up or pull them down.
Well, it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if it has a name, but like when you're like, okay, we're like when you're at a camp or something, I don't know. And you're like, okay, I was walking down the street and I turned the corner and saw, and then the next person goes.
So based on like what the next card would be, you kind of add to the story.
Fun. Oh my God, I want to do this.
All right, so we'll do that, but we got a couple other games to get through before we get to the tarot. Soon after Triumphi in the 16th century, the game Tarocchi was derived from, and this was...
I've heard of that.
Right? This was derived from the Italians as well, so little is known about how to actually play the game.
Okay, I wonder why I've heard that.
Well, Tarocchi, tarot, It's close.
Maybe. Okay.
And the reason why little is known about the game is because for much of the 16th century, playing cards were actually outlawed.
Oh,
due to
why?
the relationship to gambling.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Here's where we can start to draw the first similarities. So Taroki is synonymous with the word fool or foolish.
Okay.
So we have the fool's journey.
Fool's journey.
Right.
Okay.
At this time, it was still just a game. It was not used for divination or anything like that. Okay, so the Taroki game was almost in a way of like getting the numbers to match and the face cards to point the same way. And if you got like trumped on that, you were the fool.
Okay, but we don't technically know how to play, but that's
the general gist of it.
Okay.
Right. So, but the thing is to remember here is like, some people are using the cards for gambling, but now we've got this Triumphi and this Taroki split where they're looking at the symbols of the cards to come up with the game rather than just the numbers, right?
I like Triumphi better. Wait, was that the one I liked?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the games and the decks existed all across Italy and Europe for some time, but it wasn't until like the 1700s or the 18th century, so 500 years from the start of this, that the French really started to get their hands on them. And they start to use the cards for cartomancy, or fortune telling.
Cartomancy?
Yeah. So it was around this time that the cards were given like a little bit of a more prescribed meaning for what each one was.
Okay.
And somehow Taroki becomes tarot around this time.
This is like the complete opposite of the Ouija board, where the Ouija board was created for more spiritual stuff and then it just turned into a board game that people made. These are like games, and now we're turning it into something spiritual. That's interesting.
Right? So like exactly what you said, Taroki, Triumphi, those original decks had more cards added to them. They started to get more of a prescribed meaning. And tarot actually came from, it was the name of, I think it was one of the Italians. Their specific deck was the something de tarot.
Okay, that makes sense.
So 1781, a French Freemason, now I'm going to destroy this name. His name was Antoine Court de Gabelin. So I don't know how to say it. I'm not even going to try.
Gabelin?
He publishes a paper in something like similar to an encyclopedia, where he basically states that the symbolism in the cards was derived from the ancient Egyptians. Now, remember, the cards technically did come from Egypt.
Did. Okay, but not ancient.
And that these ancient Egyptian priests had their ancient knowledge and they created the cards. And then it spread from Egypt to Rome. And then it was the Catholic Church found it, right? And that's what actually led to them being outlawed. This is what his whole paper was, because of the secret powers to display the future. This
is very similar to the Ouija board, how it all got spread. Very, very similar. It's cool.
He ties the cards back to like coming from all the Egyptian gods like Osiris, Isis, and others. The catch here, though, is that he had no historical evidence to back this up. In fact, 1781 was before the Rosetta Stone was deciphered, so we didn't even have any idea at that point what the hieroglyphs meant. But with the cards growing in popularity and the invention of the printing press making them more accessible, tarot took off as a super popular game.
I mean, that sounds like a very believable story. So if it's getting printed all over now and like, yeah, why wouldn't you believe that?
Right. And that was 1781. And you and me are freaks. So we know in the 1800s, the like bored rich people of the world became obsessed with parlor games and the occult. So then we have seances, spiritualism, palm reading.
Spiritualism.
Right? Like that was what they had at their parties to entertain themselves. And now you have tarot too.
Why did we stop?
Not all of us stopped. Look at us.
Well, we need to throw a party like that though.
Oh my God. Yes. That would be so fun.
Oh my God, we should. Not like a Halloween party, but just like an actual like
a parlor party.
Yeah. Ooh, but who's going to come? Just me and you.
We could find a few other weirdos.
Weirdos.
We're going to do an oddball parlor party, guys.
Oh my God. God, now we have to find a weekend.
Right? Now we've got the history of playing cards, how it slowly evolved into tarot. Now we need to talk about the modern tarot deck, which you may have heard it called as the Rider-Waite deck. Have you ever heard that before?
That vaguely sounds familiar.
So, today you can go into a store that sells these kind of things, and you can find a tarot deck in basically any theme you want, right? Like, I've got a pride deck. My friend Chelsea, best friend Chelsea, has a cat-themed deck. You can find them, popular culture, like a Lord of the Rings themed.
Yeah, mine's just like very
Yours is yours is a Rider-Waite, I believe. That's kind of like the industry standard was the Rider-Waite. So if you've ever seen like a picture of a tarot card with like that like old kind of creepy artwork to it, right? That is based on Rider-Waite. So if you ask me though, it really should be called the Rider-Waite-Smith deck because the name comes from the Rider Company in 1909 who printed the cards. A.E. Waite, who created the deck and the meanings, and it was illustrated by a woman whose name is Pamela Coleman Smith, which you'll see her signature on a lot of the decks, but it's kind of left off the name of it. But more and more readers now are starting to call it the Rider-Waite-Smith deck to make sure that she gives her credit.
Gets the credit.
Right.
That's nice.
So now you're probably asking yourself, well, why did A.E. Waite and Pamela Coleman Smith create the deck? Ask yourself.
I can't even remember those names. Why did they create the deck?
Well, Kara, we've got to look into their background and the secret freaking society that they were a part of that led them into this.
Can we have a secret society?
Yeah, we should start our own. I'm so down for it.
Like we can mail like our listeners like invites.
Yes.
And like they could be like really cool. Like so it's secret.
Okay, well, while you stew on that and come up with maybe,
like a premise. Send me your addresses.
While you do that, yes. I'm going to talk to you about the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Hermetic.
I know, but it makes me think of hermit. Hermetic
Order
of
the Golden Dawn.
Of the Golden Dawn.
Tell me it's not a badass name.
It is, but I can't even. I'm trying to think of what it would mean.
Good question. I'll tell you in a few.
Reminds me like a vampire or something.
So it was a secret society, though, that studied metaphysics and practiced Hermeticism.
Okay.
This started in the 19th and 20th century. So I want to spend some time with them because I think like secret societies, I don't know why.
They're just so cool.
They're so cool because they're secrets, right? So the Golden Dawn was founded in England in 1887 and was a group of people studying magic and mysticism, which is what Hermeticism is. It was actually founded by 3 Freemasons, William Woodman, William Westcott, and Samuel Mathers.
Right, and they're all about secrets, so.
Oh, yeah. And so they split off from the Freemasons, which is obviously, another secret society that everyone knows of. And they started to structure the Golden Dawn in a similar sort of hierarchy and initiation process. But the biggest difference was that they allowed women to join the Golden Dawn, which women could not join the Freemasons.
Right. Do you think Sarah Winchester was a part of a secret society?
Yes, and we're going to get into her, actually. You're gonna start to see some similarities.
I'm so excited.
The society was split into 3 separate orders, right? And you could kind of grow through them. So the first was just aptly named the Golden Dawn. This taught esoteric philosophy, which is like a metaphysical way of thought.
Sarah Winchester?
It taught personal development through the study of the elements, as well as the basics of astrology, divination, and geomancy. So we've talked, cartomancy was using magic to read cards. Geomancy is using you throw dirt to read the future. You use the elements.
I was thinking I was thinking like gems and like stuff like that. That makes sense. So Earth. Yeah. Okay, so this is the first ascent, like the tier. The first tier of the society is this stuff. Okay.
Right. So that's where like the initiates would come in, right?
Okay, cool.
Now it was originally when they first started it was all one. But
do they have initiation?
You know how people be. The originals got to set themselves apart, right?
Well, come on.
So we get into the second order, or the inner order, or the Rose Rubea et Aurea Crucis.
Oh, like Rosicrucians?
Yep.
Okay. This is My best friend Sarah, man.
The second order, you learn to do magic through scrying into the future, astral travel, out-of-body experiences, and alchemy. And finally, talking with spirits.
This is making me so happy. Can I tell you something? This is so cringe, but yesterday I'm like, I don't know why, but I like miss Sarah. I miss her. And so, like a cringy person I am, I re-listened to all 3 of our Winchester episodes yesterday.
At least you also bought that tour so you could just go again.
Oh, I forgot I did that, but that doesn't like...
Right.
Yeah, but yeah.
Okay. Third order. This is the highest order. This is that of the secret chiefs.
Ooh.
These are the highly skilled members who have honed the power of spirit communication. And they could talk to the chiefs of the Golden Order, the spiritual chiefs, and then direct the activities of the lower orders.
Okay, so they're getting spiritual messages that they're going down to each level. Cool.
What kind of happened was like somebody in the Golden Order at the beginning, not one of the original 3, but this, I think, was a woman in Germany. She was the only one who could speak to.
So she's a medium, essentially.
And when she passed, instead of being like, oh, we need to have like a new head bitch in charge, we're just gonna make a third order, and those people can talk to the spiritual chiefs directly without needing to go through just one person. Yeah.
So magically now they can do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Through honing your skills through the first 2 orders. Now, so the first temple opened in 1887. Society grew. The teachings were developed. They started making manuscripts. So then the people who were adept, they set the precedence for future members to join by creating the second order. And that was created only 4 years in. And then in that same year is when the first chieftain lady died. And then they created the third order.
Chieftain lady.
Right. So the only way to join was by invitation or recruitment. So
of course, because it's a secret.
And slowly over time, you'd be invited to the meetings and then see if you were, skilled enough to join, and they would let you in or not, which is also very rooted in how Freemasons recruit, right? Like, you can see the similarities.
They're like secret signals and symbols that they like, once you're in, that they conversate with each other so that no one else knows.
So do you know who was in the Golden Order? Or the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn?
Who?
Aleister Crowley. The most wicked man alive, Mr. Crowley. Yeah, he was in this order.
I cannot wait for us to do our spin-off podcast of like a rewatcher of Supernatural, or me rewatching it and you start watching it, because there are so many great, like, Crowley. I just can't wait.
We'll do that, but first we're going to finish this episode.
I know, but it just made me think, because Crowley's actually my favorite character. It shouldn't be, but he is.
I can see that. So, well, once it became like a really huge, really popular order over time, like I said, it started to splinter. It's obviously less secretive anymore. I guess there's still some practicing in the Dawn, but...
Nowadays?
Yeah.
Oh.
But let's talk about how our friends A.E. White and Pam Smith got involved.
Okay.
Andrew Edward White, or Waite, not White.
Wait.
He was a British poet. He was born in 1857, died 1942. So right midlife is when, the Golden Dawn came about. But even before that, he was very interested in mysticism, the occult, and other similar matters. He joins in 1891. While there, he becomes obsessed with divination. And at times, members were already using some of the tarot decks, right? Like, because we've already talked about they've become popular parlor games for almost 100 years at this point. But what he found problems with is that everyone was kind of prescribing their own meaning to read the futures, or there was a bunch of different decks, right? He starts to study the cards, and he creates a standardized tarot deck that could be easily reprinted. He changed the names of many cards, obviously probably because they were Italian and French and he was British. And while he starts to create the deck, he creates a book to go along with it called The Key to the Tarot, which is the first standardized guide to reading tarot cards.
Okay.
All right. He gets with a fellow Golden Dawn member named Pamela Coleman, and she does all the beautiful, highly detailed illustrations of the deck.
Oh.
So Pam, her alias or AKA was Pixie, which I think is just great for like a name in like the end of the 1800s, right?
Pixie.
She was a British artist, illustrator, writer, and of course, super into the occult. She joins the Golden Dawn. That's where her and A.E. Waite meet.
Okay, you've gone over so much. I just want to make sure that I'm like following. So they just did like a newer rendition of the cards, correct? Like she's drawing the illustration.
Yeah, so the cards were already popularized, right? But there's so many different kinds.
Like variations and
different card names, different amounts of cards, and no particular meaning. Everyone was just kind of giving it their own pizzazz, right? Yeah.
Okay, so they just honed in, they streamlined it. She did the artwork, he did the meanings.
So they created the Rider-Waite deck. Then.
Yep. Okay. I just want to make sure I was like completely following.
Right. Which is like, that's where it pisses me off that we don't give her any credit. Rider is the company that ended up picking it up to print it for them. Waite, the guy who authored it. But of course, early 1900s, we're going to forget the female. Yeah. Bullshit. So anybody who refers to it as Rider-Waite, you're going to now refer to it as Rider-Waite-Smith. We're going to give her the credit she deserves. But yeah, since they completed their deck, it's estimated that over 100 million copies have been produced and sold, which is why we have all the, that's like the one where you see the death card and you recognize it as, similar to all the other ones you've seen, or like, the Hanged Man is the guy hanging upside down by his toes, or the devil card.
Let me roll over and grab mine because I think mine is roll over. What should I be looking for?
Just show me do you have them? Are they unshuffled? Let's see like one of the major arcana.
Queen of Cups? Is that one?
Nope.
No.
Nope. If it's a suit, that's not the major. If it just has a name on there.
I didn't
pay attention.
Can I just show them to you?
Yeah, so yours is technically a Rider-Waite deck. It's just, there's a slight spin on it, but it's still very close. So like I said, there's thousands probably of variations to this deck. Like I have the Pride one, Chelsea has the cat, you've got that golden shiny deck. You can buy them in any theme you want, but they are all the same names, the same suits, the same general vibe as that Rider-Waite deck.
Right.
So now that we know the history, have a little bit more of a deeper appreciation for how things came about today, I want to ask you, do you believe in it in the way that the Golden Dawn did, that this was going to tell you your future? Or are you more on the modern day readers where it's more of like a intuition type of thing?
This might be a cop-out, but I kind of think it's both. Because if you're going with your intuition, right, and you're leaning that way, or like your karma, whatever, however we're viewing it nowadays, when you're getting a reading, you're going to lean into what you're being told, right? Because you went for that reading, so you're probably somebody that believes in that stuff, right? So let's just say, I don't know, give me an example of what I would be told. Or what I could. I'm just trying to think of something I can't think.
Yeah, give me a question.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay, so let's just say, I don't know. But you're going to lean into that. And the more energy and the thought that you bring into that, you are really creating your future. Because you're manifesting it.
I was going to say, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Right. So I think it's kind of both.
I do too. I think, it's really important when either you're giving somebody a reading or you're giving yourself a reading, is that you're going to put that energy into the deck while you're shuffling it and you're focusing on the question. But I tend to use it myself, right, as almost like a jumping off point for my meditation. So I'll think about the question I want to focus on for the week. I'll do the reading, but it's kind of a way just to start to pinpoint my thoughts. Okay, so these three cards could, say like there's going to be a challenge and I might have to think about my, a Pentacles card of conflict. I might have to think about my spending for the week and that, or, and the resolution might be, like the death card, which is actually a rebirth card when you get into the meaning of it, right? So it's like you have to change the way you think about how you spend your money. Right.
So now all week you're going to be thinking about that and you're going to project that into your future.
So did it not tell my future? Yeah, I think it did. But I think it's more anyone who's trying to learn it, right? Learn the base meanings of the card, but then really rely on your intuition. Whether you're the one being read to or the one doing the reading, try to keep your bias out of it as much as possible, but let the general
Which
meaning
is hard, but
and your feelings kind of guide you, right? Like I think the reader should keep their bias out. The one who's taking the message, let your bias and let your mind, like, look at the card, look at the meaning, but also look at the art. Look at the other cards around it and come up with like what it means to you. And I think that'll have a way more powerful impact.
Yeah.
Than just thinking like, oh, these cards are going to tell my future. Like, no, use it as a point to like get in touch with yourself a little bit and think through whatever problem you're faced with.
Yeah. So, it might be a cop-out answer to some people, but I think it's both.
I think it's much less of a tool for like specific future reading than it is using your intuition to like almost, I think it's almost very meditative. Yeah.
Meditate, you manifest. Yeah. I'm with that.
Right?
Oh my God.
So, I know we're almost an hour in, but you got history, you got how to read cards, you got a lot there. You got secret orders. I mean, I tried to give you as much as possible.
So we are almost an hour in. So do you want to let everyone go now? And then we'll just record a real quick like bonus episode of you giving me a reading. And then we can just attach it after this, or do you want to just do it into this?
So the very last sentence I had on here was going to be, do you want a reading? Not thinking that this would take us anywhere near an hour. Let's do it as a special little thing for the people who stay to the end. Let's do a real quick reading. Okay. All right, Kara, I need you to think of a question. Focus on the question.
Oh, man. Okay. We'll
cut the silence here while she thinks.
Yeah, because this is where I don't know what to ask. Give me some just give me some examples of things that like you ask when you start your week.
My favorite thing, right, when I'm starting to do it for the meditation, I usually do it on Sundays, is what do I need to focus on for this week?
Okay. All right. I kind of like that, but I might do a little spin on it. So let me just think. Okay. I think I got a question that would work. Okay. So now I just need to think about it.
Yep. Think about it. And if you want, you can tell me out loud, or if you want to keep it to yourself and just see kind of the meaning you prescribe to it without my bias, then go for it.
Okay. I'm going to think about it now.
All right. I got 3 cards in front of me. We're going to flip them. We're going to do this. Does it make more sense to you to do lead up conflict resolution or past, present, future?
Not past, present, future, I don't think.
Okay.
No.
So we'll do more the lead up conflict resolution. And I'm going to caveat this right now as I'm really learning through this, right? I'm going to try to read them intuitively. I'll read you the meaning if we want to do that too. But let's go with the first flip. So we got, for the lead up, we have the King of Cups. Okay. For the conflict, we have the Queen of Pentacles. And for the resolution, the Wheel of Fortune.
Okay, now break all those down for me again.
So let's look at cups first, right? So your first cup is the King of Cups. Cups is the closely related with the element of water. This has to do with your emotions and your intuitions. The King is usually a very mature and developed sense of your skills. So when we're looking at that in emotions, is usually you are fairly in charge of your emotions, right? You've kind of gone through a lot in your past. You've really honed in on how to hold yourself up in certain things, and you've almost become a leader to others.
Okay.
All right. I want to put my own bias onto your life because I'm glad I don't know your question. Okay. So then we go into the Queen of Pentacles. So remember, Pentacles, this is going to be related to the earth. These are your worldly possessions or your objects. So your conflict could be based somewhere around material items, especially with a queen, right? You have a deep understanding of what these things can do for you. Okay. Right. Now it's usually like you're kind of nurturing around this, or things might be like coming together for you in a good way. Okay. All right. Like let's link them together so far. You've got good control over your emotions. You've got a good understanding of money and your worldly items. Okay. Now we're going to throw in a major arcana card, the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune deals with karma, luck, a turning point, and fate. It can be both good and bad, though. So the thing with the Wheel of Fortune is that it is all up to chance.
Right.
You kind of have to be looking for signs in your life where you might be out of control of where your fate ends up, but that resolution is in the lack of control and giving it over to karma. So with those three things being said, what was the question you were focusing on?
So I kind of just spin off of what you said. So you basically said that you'd start your week and you just say like, what do I need to focus on this week? Right.
Right.
But I was thinking like, okay, like you and I've kind of been working on mental health, things like that. So I was thinking like, what mental health aspect should I be working on this week?
Okay. So we can play with that a little bit, right? You want me to do a little intuitive meeting for you?
Sure.
You're at a point in your life where you are understanding of your emotions, that everything is really kind of sort of put together right now. Like you have your money and your items, like things are kind of going really well, right? Like you understand what those give you. And if you link it to your emotions, right, your worldly possessions and the wealth you've accumulated might be in sort of a conflict with your feelings. So you would think that having nice things would kind of further develop those skills, but somewhere there's a conflict in there. So now we need to think about the resolution being the Wheel of Fortune, where your emotions and your worldly items, are those directly linked together? Are you trying to control your fate too much and have way too much control over those things? And are you not letting it go enough to be fate? Are you trying to control how you feel, what you have, and let that be who you are? And are you paying attention to the signs that things could turn around at any point and maybe let go of that high control you have over everything?
Okay. So I'm trying to remember everything because as you were re-explaining the cards, I was like, okay. So when you were explaining the first card to me, you were like, okay, you kind of have your emotions under control, like whatever. And I'm like, okay, like I'm thinking like, if you're talking about mental health, like right now, like, yeah, you and I are basically like, we're really mentally healthy right now. Like we have stuff that like, you know, whatever. So I was thinking, okay, like, yeah, I'm good. And then the second card you were saying, something hit me like, oh my God, what were you saying when you were first describing it?
You have a deep understanding of what your money and your material objects can do for you.
Well, you were just saying like material objects or like, God, there was something else that you said. And I was like, huh. So remember how I was telling you earlier in this episode, top of the episode, that I went through a rabbit hole somehow of getting like stuck on Euphoria reels.
Mm-hmm.
I've become obsessed. It's not okay. To the point where I actually gave myself a headache yesterday because I was scrolling so fast through reels so that it would get out of my algorithm. And then I would only stop on the Euphoria ones, like to the point where it's really bad, really bad. In the last 3 nights, I've had dreams, like weird Euphoria, wacky nightmares where I was like, this is why social media isn't my thing and it shouldn't be a lot of people's thing. This is screwed up and I think I need to stop. So I don't know if that happened. It kind of was like what you were saying like before. I was kind of like thinking.
Were you starting to get, okay, maybe not a charge of your emotions, right? But an understanding of your emotions and then a care for the material objects you have right now, right? Maybe what you're doing is starting then to get nostalgic about the way things used to be. Obviously, you and I were both a little bit of partiers back in the day, right?
No, I don't think that's what it was.
Okay.
Euphoria has nothing to do. It's just bizarre and it's just crazy. I don't even know if it has anything to do with that.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I just can't stop. And it was like really bad. So
and see, that's the thing is I just did exactly what I said you shouldn't do. I shouldn't put my bias onto you where you should.
That's okay. I wanted to hear
the
what
meaning
you had
of
to
the
say.
card, right? And start to develop for yourself.
Yeah, I already thought my meanings, which maybe aren't exactly, but actually that makes perfect sense for my mental health for the rest of the week is that I need to stop looking at reels. I need to definitely stop watching Euphoria reels so that I can sleep.
There you go. All right. And that's me. I'm so in the beginning stages of learning it, but I just think it's a really interesting tool to kind of like readdress your thoughts. Now we can wrap it up.
Hopefully you made it to the end for that. Well, thanks for listening. I think last episode we were kind of saying like, drop some comments in the, when we post on Thursdays about the newest episodes. Tell us what you think about the things that we talk about. So tell us what you think about tarot cards. Have you played with them? Have you heard of all those other games? Like, I'm interested to know like what people know about this type of stuff.
We want to know your favorite card too.
Ooh, what's yours?
Remember when I'm going to make it really quick. I told you a long time ago about I saw the stained glass of the cards and I really wanted to get one, but the only thing they had left was death, and I stayed away from it because it has a negative connotation.
But it's rebirth, I thought.
Death has actually become one of my favorite cards because it's really more of like a sloughing off of your old ways of thinking and being born again into a new way. So I really like the death card.
So did you get that?
I didn't.
Thing?
No.
I kind of want one. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, tell us your favorite card. Tell us if you've played, if you've gotten a reading, if you thought it was legit, accurate, whatever. Thanks for listening. We love you. We appreciate you. And most importantly, creep it real, you oddballs.
Goodbye.
Bye.